Let's turn now to the latest business news then, and we'll start with that meeting between Xi Jinping and Joe Biden on the margins of the APEC summit in San Francisco. Our business editor, Charles Pellegrin, is here to tell us more about what this could mean for the business world. Charles.
That meeting taking place as relations between the two superpowers is at a decades low. That's at a decades low. That they might actually be each other's biggest trade partner, but China, as well as the U.S., sees the other side as a threat to its interests. That's why we've seen a cycle of trade restrictions and countermeasures hurt economic relations between Beijing and Washington, with both sides taking steps to reduce dependence on one another. So seeing their two leaders talk again will reassure some that trade and business ties can improve. Earlier, I spoke to Dominique Turpin, the European head of CIBS, a Sino-European business school, for his reaction. Take a listen.
It's very good that the two presidents of the two major economies in the world are talking to each other, because they haven't talked to each other since 1 year now. I'm not sure that a lot of very concrete action will come from this meeting. The Americans seem to be a little bit more positive than the Chinese so far. But the fact that, when you have tensions, these two parties, these two very big powers are talking to each other, I think is good news for the world. When it comes to trade, China needs the world and the world needs China. I mean, I think that what is the big issue is the fact that, the trade deficits between China, Europe, and China and the United States is growing. This reminds me a little bit of what was happening in the 80s when Japan was a major exporter to the rest of the world, and we were, getting market share in the automotive industry. It seems that the history is repeating itself, but this time, China is a much bigger fish than Japan.
Moving on now, in other news, Thailand unveiled a new project at APEC, a land bridge over the country's narrowest slither of land between the Andaman Sea and the Gulf of Thailand. The project, you see here, that little slither of land, that land bridge would be right there. The project would connect the Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean without requiring ships to sail down along the tip of the peninsula, down through the Malacca Strait, which is known to experience congestion and would cut transport duration. It would be pricey, though, estimated at $28 billion. Let's listen in to the Thai Prime Minister.
It will considerably reduce the commute time between the Indian and Pacific Oceans and mitigate the constraint faced in the region. This is a very important project, not just for Thailand, but also for the world. Since this provides an alternative connecting point between the East and the West. My government vision is for Thailand to become a regional hub for commerce and logistics within this decade.
Let's take a quick look at the stock markets now. Investors digesting the information coming out of that meeting between Xi and Biden, and after a few days of gains on the back of softer inflation data from the U.S., we're seeing shares trade mostly lower. The Nikkei finishing down just short of 0.3%, and the Hang Seng leading the losses down 1.5%. In Europe, we're seeing a similar trend after days of gains. We're seeing the FTSE in London down over 1.10%, same for the CAC 40 in Paris. And Microsoft announced the launch of 2 custom-designed computing chips meant to bring the delivery of artificial intelligence systems in-house and reduce costs. Microsoft said it does not plan to sell the chips, but instead will use them as part of its own subscription Azure cloud computing service. One of the chips, called Maya, will speed up AI computing tasks and is designed to run large language models, and is the result of collaboration with ChatGPT creator OpenAI. And finally, Dubai's air show kicked off this week with flying taxis on display. Approvals for the futuristic aircraft are expected in the next 2 to 3 years, but not everyone is convinced. Tom Canetti has more.
Flying taxis from cult science fiction films like Blade Runner or The Fifth Element are set to become a reality, taking over the Dubai Air Show this week. Archer Aviation's flying taxis' first flights in the UAE are expected in 2026, while US approval could be as soon as 2025.
What we used to think of as science fiction is now science fact. This is happening, it is real, and you will see this in the market in 2025.
While the aircraft resembles a futuristic helicopter, there are key differences around sound and emissions.
We have designed this around this business case to operate in urban environments, say from the airports to city center. It is eco-friendly. It has about 100 times less the noise signature of a conventional helicopter, so it's very neighbor-friendly as well.
Archer's Midnight wasn't the only flying taxi on display at this year's airshow.
What you see behind us, which is the manned version, or electrical air taxi as some refer to it, is planned to be certified and then further exported. As a third step, we would then move to the European and then US markets.
The use of flying taxis has been publicised as an option for the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. But this week it received backlash from members of the Conseil de Paris and the Deputy Mayor of the capital. France's Ministry of Transport is set to make a decision at the beginning of 2024.
Paris refusing that license on environmental grounds.
Charles Pellegrin with Business, thank you.